Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to talk about some of the most important event listeners in JavaScript. But before we get started, make sure to subscribe and click on the bell button so that you get notified whenever I upload a video. So here I have created a page called page.html and inside it a simple form, simple login form with two inputs, the username and the password and the login button. And the first event listener that I'm going to talk about, which is very common and important, is the click event, which is fired upon clicking on a button. So for example, if the user clicks on this button, we need something to happen. Maybe we want to talk to the server or display a message or do something. So how would we use the click listener in JavaScript? It's very simple. First, we need to make a reference to this button. So I'm going to use the document and then get element by ID, and then I'm gonna pass the ID of that button, which is login, and we need to store this in a local variable or a variable. Here var login button equals to this, and then we need to add the click event listener to this login button. How would we do so? Very simple. We use the login button and then dot add event listener. And then we pass the event, which is called click, and then the function that we want to execute upon clicking on this button. And here I'm going to pass the function and the event E for event, and then what we want to happen if the user clicks on the button. Maybe we want just to display something in the console, and we can say login button was clicked. Let's now save and test in the browser. As you can see, if I click on the login button, it's going to display login button was clicked. So this is the first event listener. The second event listener that I'm going to talk about is the key down, which means that if the user types something, if the user just clicks on the keyboard on any button on the keyboard, it's going to fire a function. So here I'm gonna again make a reference to the password. Let's try this on the password. So I'm gonna use the document.getElement by ID, and let's add it here, and we pass the ID of the password field, and we store it here in a variable called password equals to this, and finally password dot add event listener, and we pass the key down event, and then the function that we want to execute function and what we want to do. And again, I'm going to use the console just for testing. Let's copy this console log, and I'm going to paste it again here, and let's here say keyboard button clicked, and let's remove this part and let's test now. Let's refresh, and if I click anything on my keyboard, as you can see, it's going here in the console, it's going to tell me keyboard button was clicked. Here I have a typo, don't worry about that. And the final event listener is that if the user just puts the cursor inside one of these fields, it's going to fire a function, and it's called focus, the focus event listener. So here, instead of the key down, I'm going to change it with the focus, and I'm going to remove this and say focus fired was fired, event was fired, or just focus fired. Let's test. If now I refresh and just add the cursor inside the password field, as you can see, the focus event listener function has been fired. So these three event listeners are one of the most important event listeners in JavaScript, and you would probably be using them a lot. If you like this video, don't forget to share, like, and subscribe, and check the description below because I have got a complete course on JavaScript that will make you a professional in JavaScript and other courses as well.